So what's going on guys, Kids here and welcome back to a brand new video. For today I will show you the best beer pass build in Albion online. So I will show you what abilities and armor you want to get. Then I will explain every single skill and what is the best skill rotation that you want to use for both PvP and PvE. And then lastly I will show you the best gameplay so you would be able to get the best results and highest damage possible and much more. So no matter how much silver you have or how high or low your weapon levels are, you can easily use this build and follow the step-by-step guide. So if this sounds interesting to you, then let's get right into it. So then moving over to the build, and for the weapon we are using the beer paws. I personally have been playing this weapon for years now, and it is my most favorite one, because of its simple and easy playstyle. Then as well the ability to do damage within few seconds, and then lastly this build is good for chasing down enemies and as well for farming monsters. So like most of my builds, this setup is good for PvP and PvE, and most importantly, all skills and gear can be used with low levels and even tier 4 equipment. So then moving over to the build, and for the weapon we want to get the beer paws. So for your Q you pick the third option, then for your W you pick the second option, and then lastly for your passive you go with the deep cuts, which is the first option. Then for the helmet you want to use the fiend cowl and pick the third ability and first passive. Then for chest armor, go with the assassin's jacket and pick the third ability and third passive. Then for boots, go with the royal sandals and choose the third ability and second passive. Then for your cape, you pick the undead cape. And then lastly for your consumables, you go with the poison potions and dead water eels too. But then for alternatives, specifically for PvE, so if you don't care about killing players or escaping / chasing them down, then if you don't like the royal sandals, then you can just go with the scholar sandals. And this will give you the same speed boost, just without the increased damage. Then on the fiend cowl, if you're grinding experience, then you want to change to the first ability. So then when you are low on energy, you can regain it very quickly. And then lastly, for pure the highest damage possible, you can go with the pure damage cape, like a Tether cape, but even in PvE I don't like to die or even go down. So having the undead cape and assassin's jacket invisibilities are great for me to skip levels in dungeons, or just to escape if you ever get low health. Okay, so now let's go over to the gameplay, where I will show you the best way to play this build. So for the first Q spell we have the Rending Rage, which has 3 attacks in one simple skill. So we can activate the skill once and it will do damage in AoE range. But then if we in the next few seconds we press it again, then we can now do the same attack twice now. And then again if we press the skill one more time, in the next 2 more seconds, then we will do damage plus leap to the enemies. So if in the third attack we hit the enemy, then we will root them for 2.4 seconds. But most importantly, we can do this combo without hitting anyone. So in open world, if you need to escape or catch enemies, then you can just simply press Q 3 times, and then the third time you will leap. So you can basically keep leaping around and creating distance, or just use it for AoE damage. Then for our W we have the Adrenaline Boost, which will give us a boost by increasing our damage by 25% and increasing our attack and movement speed by 40%. Then our E skill is the Razor Cut, which will do another leap and do massive AoE damage. Plus, if you hit enemies, all of them will bleed and take damage for the next 6 seconds. Then our R skill is a simple invisibility spell, which will make us invisible, and we can usually use it to escape enemies or skip enemy mobs in dungeons. Then for our D skill we have the Purge. This skill is mainly meant for PvP, and it will remove any type of buff on the enemy. It's very powerful for open world and 1v1s, but it's almost completely useless against mobs. So if you purely want to farm mobs, then here we usually pick the energy regain skill. And this is a simple channel spell, which each second you channel it, you will receive energy back, which is very important if you don't want to take small breaks, but keep farming from one enemy group to the next one. And then finally we have the F skill, which will give us 75% movement speed and increase our damage by 15%. The caveat is that we will take 13% extra damage when these boots are activated, so we usually only want to use them before using our main damage dealers or to escape enemies. And then of course we can't forget about the undead cape and consumables. So the cape will protect us that if we drop below 15% HP, we will become invisible. Then our stew will increase our damage and reduce cooldowns, so we can keep using our damage abilities more often. Then our poison potions is just meant as one extra thing we can throw at the enemy and do more damage. And then lastly, just in case, we have the cabbage soup. So no matter if you're in PvE or PvP, you can always run away for a second, then use the soup and regain your health in few seconds, if you again don't get hit. But again, only use it if you're in real trouble, because these foods won't stack. So if you don't want your stew effect to disappear, then don't use the cabbage soup and only bring 1 or 2 for safety. So with all of this said, now let's move over to the rotation, and PvE and PvP basically work the same way. So then for your rotation at the beginning of the fight, you want to activate the Royal Sandals, then activate the W skill, and then from here just use your Q 3 times, and then finish it off with your E skill. And then from here keep on using auto attacks and the Q skill every 2 seconds, because they have very short cooldown. And then you can use your D skill if you see that the enemy has buffed up and is about to use skills. And then you can as well use the invisibility again to outplay the enemy, run away from him, or just to give yourself a break to reposition or regain the other skills back. R and D skills plus the poison potions are situational, so use them whenever you feel like you can get most out of them. So now let's see what we did in this rotation. By first of all activating the F and W skills, we will get plus 40% speed and plus 25 and plus 15% damage increase for the next 7 seconds. So then in those 7 seconds, we can use our main damage dealers, so the Q, W and E skills, and we will do massive amounts of damage. Then from here we just keep on using the Q skill, and if needed the poison potions, and from here, depending on if we are winning or losing against mobs or enemies, then like I said, we use the R and D skill accordingly, and that's about it. So then in my final conclusions, this build is very cheap and low level friendly, because most skills you don't need high levels to unlock, and all of the gear pieces are not artifacts, so you can keep using the setup and outplay the enemy mobs or other players. Our main weapon, the Beer Paws, is as OP as it gets in the game, because we have incredible movement speed and a lot of damage potential just from Q and E hits. And if you want even higher damage than that, then you can go with a Tetford cape, but I like personally not to die rather than to get 3% more damage, so the cape choice is up to you, but it won't break or make this build. So I strongly recommend you to change some of the skills depending on what specific content you are doing. And like per usual, I hope you have fun. So with that said, I really do appreciate everyone for watching guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any suggestions, feedback or other good Albion online builds that you would like to see in the next video, then feel free to leave your comments in the comment section down below. And while you're doing that, please click like, subscribe and enable that notification bell, so this way you could support the channel and you won't miss any more amazing content. With all of this said, you have an amazing day and I will see you in my next video, so take it easy, peace.